To hear the fact that somebody had gone to a crowded pub on Christmas Eve, armed with a submachine gun, and discharged it right into a crowd of people who stood outside and then drove off. As a resident of Merseyside and probably the surrounding areas, you would have struggled to not know about the tragic events that unfolded at the Lighthouse pub. On Christmas Eve, Ellie Edwards had gone to the Lighthouse pub with her sister Lucy and some friends to celebrate, and as the night progressed there was upwards of probably 150 people present. They were enjoying the celebrations, they were enjoying a catch-up. Ellie left the pub with a number of others to have a cigarette outside. Almost 3 hours before Connor Chapman had left his home address in a stolen Mercedes vehicle, he had moved into several positions to get the perfect view of what was going on outside the front of the pub, before finally he reverse parked into a car parking bay, which gave him a real clear line of sight right to the front area where Ellie and others were stood, armed with a Scorpion machine gun, and he'd gone there with the sole intention of discharging that at his intended targets. And the shooting at the Lighthouse pub was in furtherance of a gang-related dispute between the Ford and the Woodchurch OCGs, which are both based on the Wirral. The aftermath was horrific for those people who were there, simply doing what everybody should have been doing at on Christmas Eve, meeting up with family and friends, just enjoying Christmas. Some people then ultimately came out to give first aid to those who had been shot. I think you can only begin to imagine how impactful that will be for you as an individual, hearing about what had gone on within your local community. I mean, this is something that is completely off the scale. As the investigation started in its early stages, we then had significant resources engaged in the gathering of CCTV, forensic evidence and intelligence that was rapidly coming into the inquiry. And what was identified was CCTV that captured our murder vehicle arriving at a caravan park in North Wales. Officers attended at that caravan park and they reviewed the CCTV footage. An identification was made that the driver of that vehicle on the 23rd of December, so the day before the murder, was in fact Connor Chapman. And as a result of that and other information, as the SIO, I raised Connor Chapman to be a suspect in this investigation. He was then observed on CCTV walking along the road, and as he went to fix his quite distinctive hair, the firearm that he used fell to the floor and has to then bend down to pick that firearm back up before moving off camera shot and ultimately into the home address of Thomas Waring. He and an associate then drove in tandem to the Frodsham area, where ultimately they set alight the murder car to destroy the evidence. Connor Chapman knew exactly what he was doing. The sole purpose of that journey to Frodsham was to destroy evidence in relation to this case. This investigation has been of really significant scale. We have received, thankfully from members of our community, hundreds of pieces of intelligence. We've had in excess of 1,800 crime exhibits received into the inquiry, watched over 1,400 hours worth of CCTV. We've conducted 37 searches. We have examined 30 crime scenes during the course of the investigation, and we've applied and reviewed in excess of 350 sets of communication data. The commitment and dedication shown by the investigation team has unearthed a huge amount of evidence in relation to Connor Chapman. From forensic evidence that links him to a bullet casing that was recovered from the scene, CCTV evidence that has tracked his movements. The arrest of Connor Chapman was hugely significant for Ellie Edwards' family, for myself and for the rest of the investigation team. It's the most important thing to ensure that the family get justice. The investigation will never bring back Ellie into the arms of a family, but what I hope to is to bring some small comfort in knowing that the person who drove to the lighthouse, who discharged that firearm and killed Ellie on Christmas Eve, has been finally brought to justice and will now serve a significant period in jail, as he deserves.